Hey, welcome. Sorry about that. We're on. I'm Kevin Gammy. We've got Daniel Hardcastle stuck in a world of, I don't know. Look, Monday morning, it's been a dramatic weekend. Look, if you are out there, if you have been affected by the floods, we have put a post in Brisbane Small Business and asked you to comment if you're needing some support. And if you can offer that person support, reply to that. So look, Brisbane, we know that it's an unusual Monday morning. Really, my heart breaks for everyone who's been affected by this.
Yeah, good one, Kevin. And yeah, same. This is a time where the community is everything. I can imagine there's some real heartbreak out there. It's about how you can share that and how we can help you guys. And we're here as consultants as well. If you just want to pick up the phone and talk to us, you might see it from a different angle, certainly where it comes to rebuilding and starting again.
Absolutely. So, but today we're going to talk about your sales. Are you leaving money behind? Are you leaving money on the table? Whatever it is. What's the name of the show, Daniel?
Well, exactly that. Are you leaving money behind? But it's more about, I'm more a growth mindset person. You know me, Kevin. Yes, it's important that we've got our GPs right and we've got our cost structure right. But, we really have been in business. We understand that. We've done our cost of sales. We know our manufacturer. We know what our shipping costs are. I really like to focus on this growth mindset. So when I say, are you leaving sales behind? I want to look at it. Are we leaving sales behind because we're not looking at the right growth pools or profit pools, as I like to call them?
So are you saying, are you leaving sales behind in the future?
Yeah, that's a good one. Your future earnings, your future potential. And look, I would say 90% of people that I talk to, price is a massive part of their business model and what they do. And, these business owners love what they do and they've got a really compelling why, but they actually stop believing in themselves. They actually don't look at the market, position themselves in the market. So I want to talk a little bit about positioning and I want to talk a little bit about price. I then want to go on to your options of, and don't get too scared here because this is quite technical when it sounds, your route to market and your go to market. And if you get confused by that, just think of this. Your route to market is who are you invoicing? Your go to market is who or how do you talk to your consumer? And it's as simple as that. So let's start right at the top, and that's your positioning. And I'd like to use you as a guinea pig today, Kevin, if I could, with your chew-proof dog beds.
Not the first time I've been used as a guinea pig, but hopefully the most gentle. So let's go into it because, look, when we were having some early discussions about my dog beds, you were scratching your head and I imagine you were getting a bruised forehead hitting against the wall because I was treating it as a hobby. An awesome product. I've been doing it for 2.5 years, never had a return. People love what we were doing. And in fact, we were constantly improving the product. And yet you're going, what are you doing? You're just playing around the edges, Kevin. You got to get serious about this. And I'm going, oh, well, I'll think about. And so late last year, I bit the bullet. And it's amazing once you take something seriously, how quickly things can change.
Sure. And it's that mindset journey. And you're very good at that. That's what you do. You're a great coach in mindset. And that's the first thing I do is take that business owner through that mindset. It's 3 hours of mindset training, rewiring your brain to think differently. Because as business owners, we tend to have negative thoughts. We tend to be risk adverse. We don't have that growth mentality. But when you do, and I call it magical thinking. I talked a little bit about your growth of life and you become very cynical as a teenager, but your magical years are around about that 4 to 12 years old. If you think back, they're magical years. So I like to take people back to that magic. So the first thing I like everybody to do is position their product or their brand in the market. And what do I mean by that? Okay. Everybody has an understanding of where probably their pricing is positioned because you've gone into the market, you've looked at your competitors, but I really want you to map this out. So Kevin, when you looked at the market, how many people were playing around with these chew-proof dog beds?
Well, nobody else had a chew-proof dog bed. Like, there's a million dog beds. And if you just generically go to hunt dog beds, you know, it's a minefield. You know, your Pet Barns and your big players of the world, Bunnings and everyone else, you know, they're gonna run all over you, right? So and that makes you feel small to start with. However, what I did discover, if I niched right down and I just went for chew-proof dog beds, which is what we are,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
absolutely indestructible, all of a sudden I found that we could rate.
Yeah. So you've actually positioned yourself higher than a normal dog bed. So if dog bed was your positioning, and let's say a dog bed at one of the chain stores is say $200. You would then say, well, an average dog bed is $200. That's 100% pricing of the market. If the dog bed's $150, then you'd be about 75% of the market. And if the dog bed's $300, you'd be about 150% of the market. Where did you find you were at when you did your original pricing?
So if we look at our extra large and use that, because that's the easiest one for me to manage, and it's the one that we do end up ultimately selling most of, although it's changing now that we're changing our strategy. But we had $300 per dog bed, right? So
Okay,
we
brilliant.
found that your typical one that you can find everywhere was probably about $150 at full price. Mats were about, for the extra large, mats were around $60 to $70 for full price. And so, yeah, and we were replacing mats every other month. In fact, less.
So you were actually 200% of the market. If the market was 150, you're at 300, but you'd niched it. So there was no one else that you could benchmark to because your product was so niche, which is wonderful. Now, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. When you've got a niche product no one's doing, you can actually set the market, you can actually lead the market. And talk to me a little bit about that, because when I talked to you about lifting your prices from $300, you were just scared because you didn't think it was worth the value, or were you just scared of what people would think?
Yeah, well, it was lifting it up to 300. So we were in at, yeah, so originally we were in at 267, and I'm saying 300 because that's where we are now. In fact, that's still a discount to what our long-term price is. Hi, the people who are commenting. We don't know who you are. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it was really scary for me. If I raise my prices, then, you know, I'm not going to sell any beds, or people will stop buying them. But actually, the reverse happened.
Yeah, it would do, because people are looking for it and niching it. Now, the second part of this is you've obviously now thought, okay, e-commerce is limited for me. I probably can make maybe 200,000-300,000 at best. I need to scale this thing. So to scale a business, you need to come out of e-commerce and you need to look at your B2B strategy. And that's what a little bit of today is. And when you look at your B2B strategy, yes, you've positioned yourself and you need to do that for e-commerce. But what we tend to do as e-commerce owners is we use this thing called markup. And you talked to me about markup. And I was like, whoa, no, 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 no. Yes, that's a retail term, but you really need to look at your products at a GP level and what your other partners will get at a GP level. So talk to me about when you said to me, oh yeah, it's 100% markup, or it's 50% markup. And I said to you, hang on, we need to stop talking markup. Was that alien to you?
Look, the prospect of GP and markup and you know, they're inverse, as we know. If you're not a maths geek, one will be the opposite of the other. But let's not worry about that. That scenario wasn't scary. However, how much more was needed to make it viable in getting others to sell on your behalf? That was scary for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that was the part that was just so far out of my, it wasn't just even in my discomfort zone. It was beyond that. It was in the great unknown.
Brilliant. So when we look at pricing, we've got to position ourselves first. Where are we in the market against our product? And you know, you look at your warranties and so on. Also delivery time. If you can deliver within 3 to 4 days, then you can position yourself higher, because people want speed as well. You think about things where you go on Alibaba and it takes 6 weeks to get to you, you're probably over it by then. So price is really important in terms of your positioning. Now we think about your route to market. Don't get scared with this terminology. The route to market from e-commerce is you, the manufacturer, you are now the reseller. You're straight into your consumer. But there's another way you can do route to market. You can go to a retailer who resells your product, and you can go to someone that's called a wholesaler that sells to the retailer. Now, I'd like you to think about a petrol station. The petrol station that you go to tends to have one person behind the counter. There's a coffee machine, there's a fridge full of products, there's your bread, your milk, and your petrol. That person's there to serve you. They are not there to receive goods and put them on the shelves. So that person prefers to have one pallet dropped in the morning with the papers, with the milk, with the Coke, with the coffee, all done. And to get that one pallet, they go through what you call a wholesaler. So if you think about the bigger guys, they don't want 50, 60 deliveries a day, because they'd have to have a staff member out the back accepting deliveries. They just want one pallet to arrive. It comes onto the shop floor, and then people merchandise off that pallet onto the shelf as they're helping people. If that makes sense, then if your end consumer is somebody that's really busy as a retailer, then you've got to think about how you're going to get your product to them. Now, I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit here, Kevin, because you're probably a reseller is just somebody at a market that's quite happy to have lots of suppliers bring them trinkets and so on.
So, and this was a scary conversation for me, okay, on about 75 different levels, okay? Now, so I want to assure people out there, if your head is only in a position where you can go, hey, I'm happy to go out and hunt other people to sell my product, and will they sell it as well as I do? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But if they're selling complementary products to what yours is, and the best way for you to grow is to go and hunt them, then hit the pavement and go and see them. Sign them up, right? And get them on board, because if you've got 100 people selling your product, I can assure you they will be better at that than you are.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because you're not 100 people. But if you want to get into the larger stores who have thousands and hundreds of thousands of customers coming in every single day, that's when you need to be talking about a distributor or wholesaler. Okay, so it's for where you're at, it's for where you feel your product is at, it's for where your mindset is at today. And it doesn't mean that it won't be in a place for the wholesaler further down the track. But please start making that journey, because if you are the only one there beating the drum about your product, imagine if you could have 10 people beating the drum. All of a sudden, you're starting to get enough momentum to start filling the stadium and everyone's singing the same song. And when everyone's singing the same song, then if that's the time, you can go to the wholesaler. So my challenge to everyone who's just got an e-commerce store is look for how you could find complementary businesses to be selling your product, where you can complement what they have, and what they have, whoever's buying that is also buying what you have, because that is going to be a way to increase your brand recognition. If you're then adding to your e-commerce store, go and find our products live in all of these shops. There's a great way to boost your own SEO as well as theirs. And it's social proof that these people love your product too.
Yeah, without a doubt. Look, there's a lot to talk about here, so I'm going to stop it here. And I think when we come back together in a couple of weeks' time, let's talk a little bit about the route to market, go to market, and what are your options there. And guys, like anything, if you're at a block, you've got Kevin and myself. We're both happy to help you guys out. You'll see the link in the post. Just reach out, book a call with us, and we can talk you through this. The calls are about 45 minutes, and we can help you map out your go-to-market strategy.
So thanks very much. Thank you, Daniel. We'll get more specific and scientific about the naming of this show one day. But hey, let's stop leaving money on the
Leaving
table.
future sales behind.
I'll catch you later. Bye.